How is everyone this beautiful Sunday? Woohoo! I thought I'd talk a little bit about fathers because it's Father's Day and what does it mean to be a father or a parent. As I've told you guys before, I am going to be one of my goals this year is to get pregnant and become a mother. I've definitely done some mothering already when I was younger with my own younger siblings and helping to raise them. But right now, I'd like to have the full experience for myself. And so I think a lot about what it means to be a parent and apply the framework that I've created in how we think about parenting and being a parent. And one of the funny things about being a parent, right, is as you become an adult and you're like, wow, okay, now I see there's lots of stuff that maybe my parents could have done better in. But on the other hand, there was a lot of wonderful and great things that they did do. And so I think to be grateful for the good things that our parents did, even if in many ways they may have fallen short from what we consider what parents should be. Hey, Lexar, good to see you. Do you rather I call you Lexar or Harshita? I'm going off of the name in your title, so just let me know which you like better. But yeah, so for Father's Day, it's kind of funny what happens to a lot of us is that we can become the parents. We can end up being the one taking care of our parents. And for some of us, that may have started at a very young age. Okay, Arshita, good morning. Bernardo, hey. So some of us may have began that being a parent to our parents, but just so you know, that is actually not a good energetic cycle, is to take on the role of parents to our parents. And I did that at quite a young age myself, because for various reasons, I ended up having to help them, counsel them, help them work through issues, even from the time I was like 12. Honestly, teenager in my 20s when they got divorced. And so that can happen to a lot of us if we're born to parents who maybe did not take on some of the parental responsibilities in the way they should have. We maybe had to grow up really fast and become our own parents and then also end up parenting maybe our younger siblings and even our parents. But one of the things that I have learned and understood is that is actually a wrong energetic cycle, and we need to flip that around. So if we're still doing that, then that's something we need to change and not try to parent them. Just let them be who they are, let them do their thing. And, it's not our responsibility and role to take care of them. It was their role to take care of us, whether they did or they didn't, it is what it is. Hey, Silva. But at this point in our lives, once you become an adult, you're 18, whatever that is, then it's time to be responsible for yourself and to let them go as far as that responsibility is for them. One of my good friends, she says that really what your parents were responsible for was to give you life. And after that, it's up to you what you decide to do with it. I personally think that, a good parent acts as a steward, and they do quite a bit more than just giving you life. They care for you. They make sure you're fed, educated, well, trained to become a happy, healthy adult. But for many of us, our parents maybe didn't get that from their parents either, and they didn't get that from their parents, right? And it's a long generational cycle of anything from abuse to neglect to harsh punishments or whatever, that in their mind they were thinking, okay, this is how we're taught to raise our children, to control them or whatever that is, versus, or sometimes maybe they just let's do whatever, and completely sort of abdicated the responsibility of being a parent. But whatever that is, at this point in our lives, we are adults and we get to take responsibility for ourselves, our own happiness, health, wealth, and development. But, and with that taking back responsibility, we can also free them of the stuff that maybe they should have or shouldn't have done. We can let that go for ourselves. And just, for me, it was about just seeing them as people. They're just people. They are, they make mistakes, they have issues, they have problems, they have their own trauma from their own parents, from things that happened to them. And just to let that go, to release them of that. And in releasing them, we release ourselves. And that's kind of the beautiful thing. When we release the person that we feel like owes us something, right? We release ourselves from the resentment, and we basically, what it is we're taking their hooks out of us and our hooks out of them, and we can be free in that sense. And that's the beautiful thing. But as long as we're meddling in their business and digging in there, right, in their business, then we can't get their hooks out of us, and it just means we have our hooks in them. So it's this kind of unhealthy type of relationship. But on the other hand, if we can release that and just say, you know what, you do you. You enjoy your life. You just live your life the way you're going to live it, and it's not really my business. And I wish you the best, right? If they are positive, good, happy people, we can, stay in contact with them and continue to have that relationship with them. If they aren't, maybe we limit ourselves as to how much time, effort, energy we spend with them, because that's just, hey, Silva, are you okay? Yes, I am. I'm doing great. So, we can limit that for ourselves as well, understanding that we are responsible for our own health, well-being, and happiness, and we're not responsible for theirs. I think you aren't well today. Oh, no, I'm fine. I'm good. I just didn't put on makeup today. So that's all. But, it's the weekend. I didn't feel like putting on makeup. So if I don't look quite as glowing as maybe I do normally, I just decided to say forget it and relax. So but there's some beautiful, wonderful things. Once we release them from that, we can see the beautiful, good qualities that they have, right? So what are the good qualities that you got from your parents, right? You may be able, how do we focus on the good? Focus on the good things, right? Instead of focusing on, oh, they did this or they didn't do that, right? Then we can focus on, hey, you know what? I learned some really cool things from my parents. For instance, I learned from my father the ability to work really hard. She says, no, you look gorgeous. Thank you. I learned from my dad the ability to work really hard. He's very courageous. He has kind of a crazy faith that everything is going to work out fine, and a very positive attitude towards life. Sometimes that positive attitude was not, sometimes a little excessive, right? Should have done more to take care of things in the physical. But it also gave me that ability to have a positive outlook on life. And so he would let us do like crazy stuff, like writing in my book about some of the stuff he would let us do. I was just like, how, as a parent, I would have been like so scared, putting your kids on these crazy wild horses, jumping off dams, going swimming, right after a typhoon in 10-foot waves, stuff like most parents would be like, oh my God. But on the other hand, all of us survived. So it wasn't that bad, right? And we just are all a lot tougher in a certain way. We have like a sense of, whatever, I can handle that. I can do that. I've done worse, right? I've done much harder stuff. I've done much more dangerous stuff. And so we're not as timid as, like, there's so many people I see today and their children, and they're just afraid of everything. And so I'm actually grateful. I'm grateful for that crazy life and all the sort of crazy things my parents let us do. Yeah, okay, we fall down, we get a bump, we get a scrape, maybe we'd have to get stitches every once in a while. But on the other hand, I just have a sense that I can handle it. I can do it. I have a certain confidence in myself because I've done all kinds of really difficult stuff that most people would just be shocked at. And that is a cool thing in a way, right? So I'm grateful for that from my father, even though most people would think it was crazy. And so it's interesting, like as we get older, what we can look back on and say, hey, I'm actually glad that my parents did that because it's given me a certain kind of a strength that I might not have had otherwise. Hey, Jayla. So, think about that when you look back. Maybe they made you work really hard. Maybe they made you study hard, right? And then when you get older and you get into the world and you're like, wow, okay, I've got to be really focused and get this project done that means a lot to me. Well, you have that skill. You have the skill to be able to sit down and focus and work hard and study hard, even if it's not necessarily fun or enjoyable. You have the ability to focus, to push through something. So if your parents gave you that, then that's a good thing. They gave you that ability. Hey, Jayla. So let's look at the good things that our parents gave us, the good things our fathers gave us. Like I said, sure, there may have been a lot of other bad stuff mixed in, but at this point in our lives, why not focus on the good and thank them for the good stuff that they did for us instead of dragging around all of the other stuff. So that's kind of that's what I wanted to talk about today for fathers and parents. So ask yourself, what are some good qualities that I have gotten from my father? What are some good qualities I've gotten from my parents? What are good qualities that I have, lessons that they taught me? Maybe they even taught you lessons by doing the wrong thing, right? It's also possible, right? Like I know quite a lot of people who were children of alcoholic parents and they don't touch any alcohol. So what has that done? That's actually a good thing in their life. They don't drink alcohol and they keep themselves away from addictive substances. So even though maybe their parents' model was not a good model, they turned it into something good in their own life. So there's lots of things, lots of ways that we can be grateful for our parents who were our teachers. And the truth is, in most ways, we are our parents' teachers. We came here to teach them lessons. And so that's also, because we're the next generation. So hopefully we are more advanced than our parents were. See? So we need to have that sense of understanding as well, right? Because oftentimes what happens is our parents kind of got as far as they could with the information, with how they were raised, the cultural expectations, the knowledge that they had, right? But each generation, we have access to more. We have access to more learning, to more understanding, more science. We understand psychology better. We understand spiritualism better. We understand human rights better, right? And that's part of what I'm teaching, is helping. I want to help more people to understand these fundamental human rights so we're not violating them. But in our parents' day, our grandparents' day, they maybe didn't have that understanding. So each generation, we get to build on it. We get to make it even better. So of course, there's going to be a lot of stuff that we could fault our parents for. But we're the next generation and we get to do better. We have the benefit of the knowledge of the generations of the past. We have the benefit of how much they pushed things forward in their, 20, 30, 40 years of life before we came along, and we could do the same. And with our children, it's going to be the same. They're probably going to look back at us and be like, wow, you guys didn't understand this and that and the other, right? And they'll take it to the next level. So that's the beautiful cycle of life. So to be understanding and recognize that there are just many things our parents wouldn't have known or couldn't have known, and now we have the ability to do more, to be more advanced, to be more compassionate, to do things in a healthier way or in a more fair way by understanding these principles. So thank your parents who gave you life, because without them you wouldn't be here, right? And you're alive. That's the greatest gift of all. You're alive. You're here to have that discussion. You're here to complain. You're here to be grateful. You have the ability to have that discussion only because your parents existed, because they were there, right? And whether they did a great job or they did a terrible job or whatever job they did, right, you're here. And the fact that you are here, that you are alive, that you are somehow succeeding in life means that you won the lottery. You won the lottery. I once heard someone give a statistic about just the millions and millions of little teeny tweaks that had to happen in the universe and in biology and everything else just to create you. Just the fact that you are alive is a statistical miracle. So, did something right. There you go. You're here. And now what you do with it is up to you, right? It's not up to them. It's up to you. You're here now, so you get to choose your life and pick the life you want to have and who you want to be. And that's the great thing. We can let them off the hook now and move forward for ourselves, and then be grateful to them for what they did, what they have, the ways, whatever ways that we can sit and list and pick up and find and discover that they actually did that helped us. And for some people, it might be slim pickings, but, just trying to find those things to have that sense of gratitude. It will only make things better. It will only make you happier and life a bit brighter when we see those things, when we look for the good that they did in spite of everything else. And we can hope that our own children will be as generous to look for the good in what we give them in spite of our mistakes. So I hope you guys have a beautiful, wonderful Sunday. Enjoy yourselves and relax a little bit. Last day before Monday comes along and we're all back to work, although technically I'm still working today. So that's because this is going to be a big week coming up. So I love you. I hope you all have a beautiful, beautiful day. Thank you for coming on. Bye.